Maryland Governor Wes Moore was interviewed by Anna Palmer, one of the founders of Punchbowl News. They have a headquarters that they set up every year now at CBC Week, which is fantastic. Great interview here by Anna Palmer. Wes Moore had a lot to say.
This is exhausting. It's also exhausting because it's not new. You know, let's be clear. For Maryland, there's been a federal government shutdown for the past 9 months. I mean, you know, Donald Trump has now fired over 15,000 Marylanders. You know, we've now had federal agencies that they're attempting to gut. We have had, over 250,000 people now in threat of losing their health care. We have had federal installations that the president has now decided to say that, for example, things like the FBI building's not coming to Maryland because it is a liberal state. That we had historic flooding in Western Maryland, where we were literally some of the first boots on the ground, where there were boats that had to save children from the second floor of their schoolhouse because the first floor was washed out. And we put in for emergency federal disaster relief funds, which we qualified for, and the President of the United States then said, well, Maryland will get nothing. So I kind of get it. Right, I kind of get that he says the only way that he can do well in the midterm elections is if he changes the rules. But frankly, this kind of tracks because this is what he's done his entire life. You don't like the answer, just change the rules. And he's gotten away with it, right? And so, while I actually stand with the majority of Americans who hate this idea of gerrymandering, I stand with the majority of Americans who hate the fact that less than 10% of our congressional districts are competitive right now in the first place. Less than 10%, and by the way, that includes in the state of Maryland. I also know this, is that the president cannot pick and choose the rules. The president cannot call certain states and say, hey, I want you to have a conversation about if you have fair maps. But by the way, you other states, no, you need to stand on principle. That's not the way this game works. And so my only thing is this: if certain states are being called on to figure out if they have fair maps or not, then all states should have a conversation about whether or not they have fair maps or not.
The theme of CBC Week this year is Made for the Moment.
What does Made for the Moment mean to you?
It means remembering that there is never a room that you're in because of someone else's kindness. I'm listening. I'm clear, y'all. And I understand. People have asked, they're like, is there a specific, when you think about kind of the uniqueness of this seat that I'm in, where I am the first black governor in the history of the state of Maryland, and only the third African American ever elected governor in the history of this country. That I am. That I remember I very intentionally started my inauguration down at the Annapolis docks. And for those who have not been down there, it's beautiful, but that's not why I started my inauguration there. I started my inauguration there because the Annapolis docks were home to one of this country's first and largest slave ports. And we started our inauguration morning where hundreds of us gathered there. And we said a prayer to the ancestors. And we did a reclaim, and then we marched together from the docks to the State House, which was built by the hands of enslaved people, and that's where I was first inaugurated as the first black governor in the history of the state of Maryland. And I think about all of the the message that I said, because we had a bunch of students who joined, and I remember the message I said to the students was this: is that. In every room that you are in, you are not there because of someone's benevolence. You are not there because of someone's social experiment. You are not there because someone wanted to sprinkle diversity into the room. You are there because that room was incomplete until you showed up.
So that was it. Wes Moore. Anna Palmer did ask him whether or not he's going to run for president in 2028, and he said no, and really rerouted the question to his reelection for governor of Maryland. A lot of people are hoping he changes his mind on that one. We'll see what happens next, though. This is Lauren Burke, and I will be back very soon from CBC Week.